One, two, three. Welcome to the Goose One channel. There's a thought that I'm not so often stuck on in my emptiest, most bored moments, and it's what great art has Gen Z produced yet? And it's not an indictment on Gen Z or anything. I myself am Gen Z, and I think the rhetoric that Gen Zers are uniquely lazy or love their phones too much is lazy critique in and of itself. It's much more the culture and all of that surrounding them that influences. It's much more the culture and all of it surrounding them that influences so much of Gen Z attitude, but I digress. And don't get me wrong, there is plenty of Gen Z art that I really like. I'm a huge fan of underground rap, many of whom are members of Gen Z. Same goes for much of the modern indie game scene. And I don't have to tell you how much fanfiction I read, but Gen Z art that has truly managed to make me feel something has been few and far between. It's a short list, among whom artists like Quedeca, Jane Remover, and a few others find themselves, which seems strange in a world so polarized, on the brink of so much disaster, for so little art to truly reflect that state and make you feel something. And I think I can confidently say that Jaydes finds himself on that list. Now, before I go any further, I just want to make one thing very clear. None of what I go on to say should be taken as a defense of or an excuse for Jade's actions. Despite any explanations I may give, one fact should remain incredibly clear. The victims in this situation are Jade's girlfriend that he tried to murder and any other victims that may come out of the woodworks in the future. Jade's actions are his own and he has to live with the consequences. These are not excuses. And with that said, Jaydes is a victim of the culture. When I say the culture, especially in the wake of the major cultural event from last year, there might be a very specific image that forms in your head. And while that isn't exactly what I'm talking about, it's definitely a part of it. Because when I say the culture, I mean the culture of men. But let's take a step back first. Jaydes, real name Jada Dumont, has long been one of the more ubiquitous figures in the underground rap scene. He's been around for years at this point, being connected to some of the larger artists in the scene like Xavier So Based, Rich Amiri, and Young Fazo, and has arguably been one of the most versatile in the whole underground. And while his sound started out in that underground plug-and-B direction with songs like Convenience, he'd always been inspired by more. There was a different type of ambition present in Jade's music from the very start, which was very obvious on releases like Romanticism, Heart Basing, and Ghetto Cupid. Now, I'm not gonna front here, I've never been a huge Jade's fan or something. I've listened to his music every so often, but his style, his sound has never struck me as exactly my style. So while Jade's had been on my radar before then, it wasn't until late last year that he really entered my sightlines. And it wasn't for anything to do with the music. It was because of a much less fortunate situation. On November 10th of 2024, about a week after the original warrant for his arrest was issued, Jaydes was taken into custody by the Broward County Police Department. Now, a rapper getting arrested is nothing new. I still listen to Fetty Wap despite his 6-year sentence for drug charges. We've all been screaming Free Young Thug during his years-long trial, which he's finally free from, and I'm still screaming Free Lil Shine. An arrest does not necessarily mean someone's a bad person, especially when that person is a young black man. But let's put it like this. This situation is a lot more of a YNW Melly than an ASAP Rocky. You see, almost a week earlier when that warrant was issued, Jaydes actually did something. When his ex-girlfriend, now defendant in his trial, refused his sexual advances, something in Jaydes snapped. And let me just read the paragraph from the Pitchfork article I'm citing. The woman told police officers that Jaydes, whose legal name is Jaden Yen Dumont, sent her a text message in the afternoon on November 2nd, inviting her to his apartment in Tamarack. She agreed and he sent an Uber to pick her up, according to the statement. Upon her arrival, she says she was talking with Jaydes on his bed when he made a move to kiss her. She says she pushed him away and told him she didn't like him like that. Jaydes allegedly replied, "Come on," and re-engaged in a second kiss. The woman says she denied him again and Dumont left the room. She stated a few minutes later he returned with a box cutter and scissors and he began to stab her. She stated Dumont stabbed her forearm and back with scissors, then stabbed her neck with a pink box cutter. This is bad. It's terrible. And I want to restate again, I don't want to make Jaydes out to be the victim here or in any point of this video. This girl's the victim in the situation, and I hope she's doing well now, but this didn't come out of nowhere. And when I say that, I don't mean to say that she should have known better. I'm not victim blaming. I'm saying the people around him should have known something was going to happen, because just listen to what he put out there publicly. We can look at a song like Junkie, which starts with lyrics like this.
Girlfriend, it feels so good. I hope it up her body and I hate her guts. Bitch thinks she's not good. I know that you don't really like me and I hate your guts.
Then there's just the overall eerie lyrics dotted all over projects like Count Up Dracula, the admission of bipolar disorder on his project Bipolar, but it's ever so clear what exactly was going through his mind when we look at the very song this video was based around, Untitled 6. So, Jaydes released Untitled 6 in July of 2024 under his moniker Mandy. On a Mitski-type beat by smaller producer SeaWorld, Jaydes pours his guts out about his mental health struggles, his lack of support, and his feelings of isolation. But beyond the bare words both spoken and sung, the vibe here is just uncomfortable. At its very base, this song is incredibly simple. A beautifully haunting piano line and two overlaid vocal tracks, one singing and one spoken word. But all these elements come together to make something bigger than their whole. This track is genuinely, seriously haunting to a degree where it's uncomfortable to listen to. Part of that is the sound. The way the vocals are stacked make it so that you can't really clearly hear what either voice is saying at any point if you're not fully paying attention. It produces this weird, rambly off-kilter feeling, and the way the piano line progresses also plays into the very same feeling. It's eerie. And then we get to the lyrics. The first layer of the lyrics is the song part. In that sense, it also feels like the first layer of this confessional. Chronologically then, I also think it's the first clear laying bare of Jaydes' mental state. The words portray this feeling of utter misery, of complete hopelessness, incomplete sincerity. Lines like, came in this world and abomination, and please don't follow my mistakes, I only told you cause I'm so real. Further emphasize this idea that the song is a final confession of mistakes before some kind of eventual end. So when we get to the spoken word part, it only gets so much realer. If this song was just the piano and the singing, I'd still think it was beautiful, a great piece of art born from unfortunate circumstances. But this spoken word section, this piece that is essentially a piece of desperate poetry, is what made me make this video. So just listen to it.
And I'm just calling this shit into my life at this point, bro. Cause I call death into my life every single day when I wake up, bro. Cause my life is not fair, bro. I'm upset at circumstance and I'm angry at the world. And I'm stuck being a sick ass, angry kid, bro. Balled up in the corner of every room that I enter, bro. Sitting there alone, even when I'm with people. And it's not fair, bro. So niggas just finna sign out for a long time, bro. It is what it is. Shit, it happens, bro. I can't even formulate my pain into sentences anymore. So there's really no point in like trying to express myself on a higher level, because niggas will never sit there and try to understand it on the level that they should, bro. They're only gonna cope with it They're only gonna cope with it in the way that they can understand it, bro. They're not finna understand it from a fucked up ass perspective like mine. So when you wonder why I do shit, just don't.
If the singing part is this sort of devastated complacency, this laying down of arms at his current being, his current existence, this poem is his anger and everything that got him there. His mental health, the lack of support around him, the lack of understanding from anyone else, resulting in this ball of bottled emotions that we know as Jaydes. And that's what I meant when I said Jaydes is a victim of the culture. Jaydes is a victim of the culture that refuses to touch on mental health, that glorifies outbursts of anger and violent tendencies, the culture that refuses to understand. Jaydes is beholden to the consequences of his own choices as they are his own, but the culture is beholden to the fruits of its existence. And Jaydes is only one of many examples. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to cut this off. I don't think you should go out and stream Jaydes' music, and we shouldn't be screaming free Jaydes. I think this man needs help, serious help. And if he doesn't get it and he goes free without it, this incident won't be the last. Still, I thought there was something hauntingly beautiful to Untitled 6 as a song. It's a look into the soul of someone deeply troubled, written in a way that is so uncharacteristically laid bare, so uncharacteristically sincere for something of our generation. It's a piece that refuses to play by the rules of the culture, of pop art in our modern age. And even if I think Jaydes is a terrible person who should be held accountable for his actions, I still think there's something irresistible to the piece. It's a song you can't help but think about, can't help but feel about. And I think that makes it great art. Just listen to it on YouTube or something, don't stream it. Not that it's on Spotify officially, but you get the point. With that said, I think that's where I get off. If you like this video, consider subscribing, pledging to the Patreon, or maybe just leaving a little like in it down there. Either way, I'll see you guys in the next video.